Kia ora, good evening and welcome to the Huddy Hui episode 118, another bumper show for you tonight. And joining us first up is former All Black prop, former Hurricanes prop and Lions prop, John Schwalger. John, many thanks for coming on to the Huddy Hui tonight. We know you have a pretty busy schedule mostly, but it's great to have you on. We were just talking off here briefly about Willie Leota, who is the town first 15 coach who you have done a bit of rugby work around side. It's very sad news, isn't it, for the rugby community?
Oh, it's huge. Like it's sad in a way that we've lost one of the great warriors on the field, but also an amazing person off it. He was trying to bring back a lot of pride and stuff like that back to not only St. Pat's rugby, but also the Wellington rugby in general. So it's a huge loss for Wellington rugby as a whole.
Now this year, the last few years actually, but we'll talk about this year. You've been helping with the first 15 in the coaching department this year. It's been a strong season to date. How tough was Nelson first game up at Quad?
Well, you can say it's tough, but at the same time, we just didn't show up. They played their best game of the season, but that also showed their class and how far they are within the country's rugby system, but also shows us where we need to get to. So it was a lot of good learnings for us boys and the team as a whole, but to get spanked that way was a bit disappointing, but at the same time it gave us something to work on for our own competition up here as well.
And what are some of the main learnings for the first 15 from that Quad tournament? I talked to Huddy a few weeks ago before the Silver Stream Traditional, a bit slow out of the box starting the games. Is there often one area that probably is still work on for the team?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we're more of a second half team, as you've seen through our results during the season and the games that you've been able to be at. So it's something that we do need to work on. We're never going to be perfect, but it's part of our focus to try and start well, so we're not playing catch up rugby or football, whatever. But if we're in the game right from the start and before halftime, then we know that we can soldier on in the second half.
Yeah, we mentioned Piri Wepu before, alongside Namia Tialata. They're also part of the Wellington College rugby program. How have they helped grow the culture at Wellington College? Because most of the teams are going pretty well this season.
Oh, it's been good. Well, it started with the big guy, and with Namia bringing us all over to Wellington College just to support them, because when you have a team that's aiming for the same goals and whatnot, everything else can fall into place. But with anything, it takes time to gel and to grow and to bring something from a foundation up. So Namia's done a good job. Piri's there as well, and you also got Otoresh and Phil Katani there as well. That's helped coach the team, and Phil's been part of that group with me and under 15s the last couple of years. So we've looked after the juniors in that space and just linked up with the big guy and Piri and Otto as well. So it's a pretty crazy team if you look at it in that sense. But then you look at the talent that we've got too. We've got what we got, and we just putting them all together. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been exciting, frustrating at times. These kids think they know better, but at the same time, there's moments that they just need to see and live through it on the field to understand why us coaches give them, stuff to work on. But, we're still growing, and we still got a mission to complete. Until then, we'll just keeping on, really.
You mentioned the under-15 team last year, strong Wellington campaign, and narrowly missed out on the national title in the under-15 tournament. Talk to us about this team, because this was quite a special under-15 team last year.
It was an awesome experience. Mainly what they went through. First of all, here in the Wellington scene, to go undefeated and to play the final that they did against St. Pat's was something crazy. It was something that we wanted to instill, and then from the big guy down and from us coming in. Wellington College is not really my old school, but the tradition and history that's instilled in there, we wanted these boys to add their history to the school and the rugby program, and they did that. And then when they went to the national tournament, that was something that showed them that they can actually compete if they follow through, look after their bodies and whatnot, and just trust the system that was given to them, and they did that.
Do you think the success of the under-15 team last year and the quad tournament has led to the growth of and rebirth of rugby at Wellington College this year? Because there's a record amount of teams, isn't there?
Oh, this year it has been, which is good, and also the numbers within it. Quad, probably having it at home last year was like the spark that we needed, and just watching the boys last year win it, got those kids in the stand wanting to be in that team if they had the opportunity. So I think this year we've had 7 players from the under-15s put their hand up for quad this year, which is an exciting prospect, but also it just shows that whatever you do the year before, if you really, really want to work hard towards it, then you just have to put in the hard work, and results will happen. So it was amazing.
Now there is this quite dynamic number 8 in the first 15 this year. He's going to be a superstar. He's your son, Circadius. There's a big future ahead of him. How do you keep him? How do you guide him and keep him grounded in his rugby career so far? Because he's quite dynamic.
Well, he's been around the rugby game, the sport really since he was a baby. He's been around the Lions and the Hurricane scene as a toddler, to now watching and playing alongside people that he admired, and now I guess we just had awesome people around him to keep him grounded. Sometimes I'll give a little pep talk, if you can say that, in cars or even at home, so just to remind them that my standards is up here, but also just to remember that for me as a dad, that he's still a kid, he's still growing, he's still living, but just trying to teach him and give him a bit of guidance, and just make sure he makes good choices, because the future is there. I've seen it, and if you ask other people, there's a lot of talented kids. It's just making sure they have the right support and they don't waste the opportunity, and the gifts that God gave them. So I want him to express himself as much as he can, but also as a parent, I want him to be better than me. So that's sort of my drive behind that boy, even though he smashes me now and then. So yeah.
Oh, great words. Now, of course, you mentioned that you actually you're a product of Bishop Viard College. Tell us about your time there at Bishop Viard as a student.
As a student, let's just say I was a good student, but back in those days, we were so proud of where we came from. I was Huddy Viard College, even now, but for me to come through the school, from a young one to when I left, and to achieve what I achieved at school, was something that I wanted to continue and push, and just show that kids from a school, especially from Bishop Viard, that you can achieve any goal you want. And I was just lucky and blessed. I took the opportunities that came my way, and now I can just to gift, all my the jerseys, and they've got it at school, just to show them that, that kids from Puriroa can, whatever school can, achieve their goals if they, put their mind to it.
And how was the rugby program there at the time for you, and who was the coach and some of the characters in the team?
Well, there was a lot of characters. the coach at the time was Henry, was the late Henry Smith. He was a coach that was all about motivation and trying to get us working as a team. And the characters there was just people that wanted to bleed, wanted to fight and do everything for each other, So when we did play at Wellington College, those type of schools, we didn't care. We had that dog mentality that we wanted to hurt them, but we ended up losing. So it was like, I'd rather win the fight, but don't worry about the game. If that makes sense. It's fun. Oh.
So what was your best moment in Bishop Viard first 15?
Beating Wellington College.
Good.
Yeah, that was one. Yeah, so we beat all the colleges except for Stream. That was the only regret I have playing in that time. But yeah, that was the best time because Nemir was on the sideline and he wanted to come back on. I think they had quad at that time, so it was our opportunity to beat them. But at the same time, my first ever game was against Wellington College, and the current coach, Otto Resch, smoked me. I don't know, he did something to my sternum, and I went over to the other side of the scrum, and then I had Nemir Tialada in front of me. So it was like, it was a lose-lose, being a 15-year-old going against those monsters back then, So, but then get to play with them was better, So all learnings, all highlights as well for me.
Now, you also were rewarded with selection in the New Zealand secondary schools team. Tell us about, making that team, your first lot of New Zealand teams. How special was that moment?
Oh, for me personally, it was crazy, but it was more just to see the smiles and how proud my family were when I achieved, that national, status really. It was just crazy, to think that earlier that year I was just a big fat boy, overweight, was a number 8, but they got put in the front row to working my butt off right through the season, and then to earn selection was crazy, But also that was the year that I changed my thinking of just working hard, and then I never stopped since.
And it was the following year, 2004, you got to go to the World Under-20 Champs. Of course, the Under-20 Champs are happening at the moment in South Africa. You were in that team that went on to win it that time. How cool was that? Where was the tournament held?
It was held in Scotland at the time. It was Under-21s before it changed to Under-20s, but it was crazy. That team, if you look back at it, we had some amazing players. Most of them were, I think 90% of that team went through to become Super Rugby players, some internationals as well, and to have a guy like Putty at the time, because he came back, he was in the Hurricanes at that time, just to come and just show us what we could do, especially from Wellington really, was something awesome, He was a guy that I used to not pick on, but yeah, you could say I picked on him because he's a halfback and he's a smart little rat. But it was, but when it came to when we play against with each other and all that stuff, that's when the brotherhood came in, and we just grew from there. So, and also we've met a lot of amazing players along the way. So that was a blessing. Making those type of teams, because you get to play with people around the country, but then you get to make long life friendships with other people as well from other countries. So yeah, it was awesome.
Now, you also were at in Wellington Club Rugby. You were part of Norths at the time, which was a big powerhouse club in Wellington Club Rugby. Tell us about that special team, because it really dominated the club rugby scene, that team of the 2000s.
Oh, that was awesome. To leave school and to go to play for the club. The story was, I was either I was threatened. I think I wasn't threatened, but the late Jerry Collins, when he saw us back at school, and the one thing he said was, "Make sure you go to North, or else I'll give you a hiding." And then it was like, "Oh yeah, sweet, we'll go to North." And then we were just lucky that we had like awesome players coming back from from Viad, Mana, Aotea, and also Wellington College, and we got the other lot from town and whatnot. But the whole thing was already there. With the old boys, they were already there. They just needed some young blood and some firepower coming through, and that was an amazing mix. And again, it was just the pride of our city, and then the pride of the jersey that Jerry Collins wanted to instill in us, especially young ones coming through. So we just didn't care about what happened. We just wanted to play for each other, and we're just blessed to win Jubilees and whatnot, and grow Porirua as a whole.
And what was your best moment for Norths, and why?
Oh, best moment was it was just a learning moment for me, was when Jerry came and played for the club. Before I became professional, it was my first one of my first games, and he was there, and just to play alongside a big brother like that ended up guiding me through my professional career. That was an amazing moment too, mainly for me.
Norths the last 2 years have not been as powerful, but they've got a lot of young talent coming through the club. The Colts seem to be going all right. Can the club bounce back after 2 pretty tough years in club rugby?
Oh, 100%. Of course. Like every club goes through the highs and lows and whatnot, and you can see that there's people that just go from club to club, just to do regardless of what the reason is, that's their choice. But when you look at it now, a lot of the boys that are coming through, just like when I was at school, they struggled a bit, and then they just had the right people there, and then the ones that came through just added to their mix, and I got a feeling that North will be a powerhouse once again. I'll give it maybe a couple of years for their foundation to be built, and then they'll be talking about North and whoever in the finals again. And they'll continue with my boy when he leaves. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, awesome. 84 games for the Wellington Lions and 84 games for the Hurricanes. What was your best moment for both teams?
The Lions was winning the Referee Shield in 2008. That was crazy. We lost it. We lost the challenge in 05 when I was there. But then 08 was an amazing season. We would have finished it with if we won the title, but it wasn't meant to be. But that was something special, especially coming back and having that parade. Man, it's at least you win it, you don't understand it. But those ones that will understand what I'm talking about. With the Canes, it was actually the semi-final before the final back in 06. The first time I've seen a packed stadium, Jimmy Copper kicking the winning penalty to get us into the final. But it was just the atmosphere that was created, and all the people, when you're walking around to do the lap of honor, you see familiar faces, you see guys and girls from school and from the city. That was like I made it. That was awesome.
You brought up the Fog final in 2006 against the Crusaders. In your opinion, 1, could you see the ball? And 2,
yes.
Should the game gone ahead?
1, no. Especially when you kick the ball, everyone will just look around waiting for the bounce and stuff like that. So that was a hard one. 2 was, I think we could have just waited until the next day, but with what was happening, I guess we just couldn't. But the crazy thing was, we go into the changing rooms. Before we went into the changing rooms, it was clear as, come back out, and then we thought it was the fireworks that were still going, but it was the bloody fog.
Oh dear, no.
Yeah,
Many
and
such a contemporary still remind me about that.
Yeah. Nah, they're just lucky because we were on a roll too. That team, and it was a crazy team to be part of too. So yeah, I was blessed.
Now in 2005, you had your Lions debut, and it wasn't in the NPC. You actually debuted against the British and Irish Lions. How cool was that to be your debut match?
It was cool, but at the same time, I was nervous as. I didn't care if I got 1 minute or whatever. I think I only got 7 minutes in the end, but I was like, for me, I was nervous because these guys were superstars. I haven't even played a professional rugby game until then, and I guess it was just a blessing that I was at home, and the fact that it was the Lions versus the Lions, I was like, oh yeah, that was me. But just to meet the boys afterwards just showed what rugby is all about. You know, people don't see that unless you're in the change rooms, you know. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, especially when what you hear was Lions out there. I was like, what the hell? You know, so that was me.
What did the Wellington Union do for your debut? Did they give you a cap or something like that? Oh, it just looks like we've just lost you there, John. So, hey, can you hear me, John? Oh, looks like John's just frozen a bit there. Hopefully, they can hear me. We'll just 1 2 1 2. John, are you there? Oh well, it looks like he's frozen. So we'll just wait and see if he comes back on. So just some internet issues there. So while we're waiting for John to get back, we'll just preview some of the Hardham Cup games to start off with. In particular, I think he might be. Oh, actually, he might be back now. Are you there, John? Okay, hold on. We just got to get him back into the stream. So, yeah, that's the one. And just get the right sound on first. All right, yeah, John, you dropped out for a bit, so.
Yeah, my bad.
No, that's all good. That's technology. It happens sometimes. The question I asked you when you had your debut, what did the Wellington Rugby Union do for you?
For me, nothing. Because it was the whole. It was only because it was everything was towards the Lions and whatnot, and apparently I was meant to get a tie. You know, that was a tradition, or part of the welcoming into the Lions team was first game you get a tie. So, but that wasn't done until the season actually kicked off. So, yeah. So nothing, mate.
Now, of course, further honours would come in your rugby career. I mean, 2007, you were selected for the All Blacks, and your first test was against Canada. Who phoned you to announce that you made the squad, and how special was it to pull on the black jersey for the first time?
No one phoned me. No one. Because it was announced. That's how we found out back then. But it was Jerry Collins. He was the one that told me when we were having a session that day. Because he would come and pick me up and we'll go for sessions and whatnot. And then after our session, he just told me really enough in the shower, as we were just having a thing, he said, oh yeah, you made the team. I was going, what team? And he didn't say anything after that, and then that's when the team was announced, and then that's when the phone calls started coming through, just to let me know what I needed to do in terms of the media stuff.
Yep.
But it was all special, you know. I probably didn't take it as well as I would have, because I was still in this belief, but at the same time I was like, no, I don't deserve to be in it, you know. But it was just something I had to take on and accept it. And yeah, and I was just lucky enough to see and play against, you know, especially in their first test for me, with amazing players within the country, you know, guys that you had to smash and bash against, to now being teammates. And to have, you know, my daughter and, you know, and her mum there was special for me too, because yeah, that was when I just wanted to play for my kids at the time. So yeah, it was amazing.
2 tests for the All Blacks. It was a pretty competitive time there to be a prop in New Zealand rugby. Do you feel that you probably could have maybe played a bit more for the All Blacks?
I could have, but at the same time, it was also learnings for me at that time as well. There was a lot of great props going around too. And the one that was holding their number 1 jersey was Tony Woodcock, and man, there was no way I was gonna, you know, push that guy out, because he was awesome, you know. So for me, I just had to try and raise my game to try and match him, if not better it, you know. But he was consistent, you know, where I was up and down now and then in terms of my performances. So credit to him, you know, he's the goat of loose head props, you know. And then you got others. I had to compete against my mate Namir Telade as well. So it was just good, you know. For me, it was a learning curve. It was an experience, but at the same time, it was like, okay, then what can I do now moving forward to teach the next generation of just hard work and stuff like that. Just to be, like I said, with my boy, I just want them to be better than us, and that's always been the goal now.
Your second test was against Ireland in Wellington to kick off the 2008 Rugby International season. Were you as cold as everyone else there at the stadium that day? Because Brian O'Driscoll described it being even colder than being in Dublin.
It was colder once the whistle went. As you're playing, you're fine, you know. But at the same time, if you got tackled and you're on the ground and you know it was wet and all that stuff, that's when you feel the cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, straight after the game, there was no it was a quick handshake and then just a walk straight into the change rooms, and we were in the showers, you know, even in our gears, you know, because it was that cold. So yeah, it was freezing as.
You have a special relationship with Namir Telade, who you're now working with at Wellington College. You built a strong partnership with him. What learnings did he pass on to you as a rugby player?
Oh, there's a long list, really. But the main one was just there's life lessons and then there's rugby lessons. So rugby lessons was just one was just a focus on number 1, and number 1 was me, you know. And then number 2 is how you connect with your brothers, and when you do cross that line, it's your brothers against whoever's in front of you, you know. And he kept on reminding me that right through my career, even when we were playing against each other in France, you know, he will still tell me, "Oh, you're heading too wide in terms of the scrums and stuff like that." So he was still coaching me, even at that age. So it's been awesome, you know, and he's still telling me off now too. So sometimes so it doesn't, it will never stop, you know. So there's that bond, that brotherhood, and you know, and I'm blessed to have played alongside him, you know, for so many years.
How is rugby in France different to rugby in New Zealand? Which you played for a few years over there in France.
Well, at the time, I expected more, only because of, you know, you go from professional rugby and whatnot, but it was a bit of old school and more set piece, scrum and liners type of play over there, especially for my club. But other clubs like the higher ones, they were playing more expensive rugby, you know, and I hated it only because I don't know, you know, I only hated the trainings because it was scrums for 2 hours. Where here it's just see the video, work on your technique, get it right, and then we're out. Whereas there was the same thing for 2 hours, headbutts, in huddles, screaming, and whatnot. But I did appreciate the set piece a lot more. So when I did come back, everything I called was a scrum or a lineup, because I was so used to it, So, and then I see it as a weapon now. So it's not, appreciate it more when you go into that sort of environment.
How has propping changed from when you were playing compared to today?
Oh, a whole lot. We used to smash each other. Like there was a gap, and just it wasn't just a lean in or the buy-in that you have now. It was actually like two packs just throwing each other in to see who wins the hit and go from there. So a lot of that has changed. To now, I can see why it's changed, just to make it safer for the guys up front, and also just more small hits now, and more sharper and more more intense in once the engagement is made. But I prefer to always just see who wins the hit and then go from there.
Who was the toughest player you played against and with?
Toughest player with is Jerry, easy, hands down. I'm just glad he was on my side. Well, actually, I was glad I was on his side. Played against will be anyone from the Crusaders, especially in their 4-pack, and Highlanders. They were just they were ruthless, man, in their own way, tough as well as a unit. But there was not one person I could pick because they were all tough. But the toughest guy was the guy that was in the number 6 jersey behind me. So I was lucky.
Now your cousin Moroni Schwalger is currently in charge of Manu Samoa. How special is it to see him coaching the team, and also because I think you got to play alongside him as well from memory?
Yeah, no, it was good. From family perspective, he was always the type over here, just coaching alongside us as players. And what he's doing now it's been amazing. Even with Salala Mopasua, that the one before him did an amazing job. With what he did with the team. So I'm praying and hoping for great things with Henry, and hope that both the team and the players and the country, get behind them.
Now, we mainly have someone call in to preview the games of club rugby and secondary school rugby. There's some do-or-die games in club rugby this weekend. There is the Jubilee Cup qualifier between Batoni and Ories. The winner goes through to a semi-final against Tawa. The loser's out. Who are you picking in Batoni versus Ories in this game?
I'll have to go with Ories. Defending champions, and they got stuff to prove, but you can't go past Batoni as well. But at the same time, I hate Batoni because I've got a few Huddies from them playing club rugby myself. So but Ories was the same. So, but in saying that, Ories and Norths are so similar. So I'll go with Ories.
And the other one, of course, is OBU versus Upper Hutt, and of course the winner will go through to play. I just had a brain explosion. Huddy Boys Marist. So who do you think will win this one?
This one, well, I'm going for the Rams, underdogs.
Underdogs.
The Bully Goats, Bully Goats, of course. They'll show up and stuff like that. But I'm hoping the Rams will get up.
Well, John, it's been fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui tonight. All the best with Wellington College the rest of the season. I no doubt we'll see you around some of the rugby paddocks in the remaining weeks of rugby in Wellington.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on board.
Awesome. Thank you. That is former All Black John Schwalger. So great to have John on the Hui tonight. And also earlier in the week, I caught up with another promising rugby player coming through the ranks, another Old Boys University player. He's fresh out of Scots College, and he caught up with me last night to talk about not only OBU's season, but also his rugby journey as well. So sit back and enjoy this interview with Old Boys University flanker Harry Irving. Joy this evening to have Old Boys University flanker and Scots Old Boy Harry Irving on the show tonight. Harry, great to have you on board. Let's talk about round one of the Jubilee Cup campaign last week. You're coming off winning the Swindale Shield. You went up against Tawa and lost 31-30. What happened in that game?
It was a pretty big shock for us. Right from that first whistle, they came out firing and had us on that back foot for the first part of that game. So it's tough.
Winning the Swindale Shield 2 weeks ago, how special was to win that, considering prior to the weekend just been, you only had one loss in the season?
Yeah, it was pretty unreal, eh? It was awesome with a good bunch of boys. And it was awesome winning that as well.
What are the learnings from that game against Tawa? What it is that the team needs to work on heading into this weekend?
I'd say it's just having a good look at ourselves and really nailing everything that we can before a game. Not getting too complacent, just focusing on our game and just making sure we come out firing. Hard.
Only the 2 losses this year. What has been the key strengths for the Goats in season 2024?
I'd say we've pride ourselves on our set piece quite a lot. We've got some good game drivers, some good leadership, and they've really put us into the right places and we've strike well off our set piece, I'd say.
The flanks also have been very strong for the Goats this season. Who are the other flankers in the team, and how do you get on as a unit?
First one that comes to my mind is Dukes. Then we've got Cody Quinn, Tana, Lakini, Nat Berry. We've got a good mix of young and a bit more experience there as well. We come together quite well. It's good. Good people.
Old Boys University number 513. How special was your debut? Who was your debut against?
It was pretty special. It was against Johnsonville actually, and it was actually pretty surreal playing Prem rugby. Growing up and always seeing them, they're just massive bodies, and then actually getting out onto the field, it's pretty scary. And it's pretty good to get that under the belt this year.
It was a wild game, your debut, the round one game against Johnsonville. They got out to a big lead, and then you crawl back to win narrowly. There's no love lost between Johnsonville and Old Boys University. Let's talk about that game in particular. How crazy was it?
Yeah, I was actually pretty nervous on that sideline, and then came on and sort of just going through the motions, felt a bit like a movie. The crowd was getting right into it, and there was a bit of chat on the field, but game was played in good spirit, and it was just a hard game. We were lucky enough to come out on top, but it could have gone either way.
And how did the move to the Billy Goats come about for you?
It's actually a funny story. Actually, last year, when I was in my last year of school, all us rugby boys were in Mr. Rahutai's stats class. also known as Bug. He's the coach of head coach of OBU. And pretty much he was just in my ear that whole year, saying, you know, like, you're going to end up coming to the Goats, like, I'm coming to you. And it ended up happening. But no, yeah, I've got my time so far. Good.
And what are you studying at the moment, Harry? What is your degree moving towards?
So I'm studying a Bachelor of Building Science, majoring in Project Management.
Oh, yes, very good.
Victoria.
Now, also this year, you also selected for another university team, that being the New Zealand Universities team. Talk to us about that program, and who did you play in that time you were with the university side?
Yeah, the New Zealand Universities was a pretty awesome tour for me. I found it was the perfect balance between having fun, enjoying your rugby, and also being in a professional environment, and you know, striving to be the best you can. We played 2 games against the Japan under-20, which was pretty cool.
Now, most of this season you've been playing on the blindside flank, but you're well known for playing anywhere in the back three of the scrum, but also at lock as well. What is your preferred position and why?
Yeah, sort of been all around the forward pack, but I'd say my my preferred position is lock, because lock or six actually, just because I think my height is well utilised in the lineup, where locks normally are, and I also like sort of being in the middle and the centre of it, getting lots of ball and with the defence. So, yeah.
And mentioning that you consider lock your more favourable position, you're pretty handy at line-out time, particularly this season for the Billy Goats. Tell us about your role at line-out set pieces.
Yeah, so my role's pretty much made easy from the support around me. I mean, the other boys like Boston Hunt, Jack Riley in the lineup, with the experience they have, it sort of makes my job easy. I'm sort of just an accessory there when the ball comes to me, sort of thing. But no, it's good. Yeah.
Where did your junior footy begin for you?
So I started off when I was 5 playing for Pundike, the Pundike Wolves, up until under 13s. I was coached by my dad throughout that. Yeah.
You just mentioned your father. He's been involved in rugby for a while. He also referees as well. Tell us about your old man and how he's been instrumental in your rugby jersey and your rugby journey, I mean.
Yeah, no, so he pretty much is he showed me the ropes to it all the way through, really, and he still does have a few comments on my game here and there. But sort of when I moved into college, he went into refereeing because sort of said, yeah, no, I'm a break now, and he still wanted to be a part of it, so he went into refereeing, and yeah.
You're a product of Scots College. Tell us about your time at Scots.
Yeah, loved my time at Scots. Was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to go there after the under-16s Wellington campaign, and there was heaps of support for me and all of the boys there throughout our time there, and yeah, it was amazing to have the opportunity that I had to go.
And how many years did you play for the first 15?
So I played year 11, 12 and 13, but my year 11 was at Rongotai.
Oh, yes, that's right, yep. So how'd you find the change from Rongotai to Scots? How'd you find that change?
Yeah, I found it quite tough at the start. In terms of rugby, it was Rongotai's rugby is sort of structured around less structured but more intense and physical. But then when I went to Scots, it was more like structure, like really breaking down the game a bit more, and yeah, no, it was good. Had a quality players around me, so yeah, it was cool.
Now, last year you were named as the captain of the first 15. How special was it for you to be given such a special responsibility?
Yeah, I was very privileged to be the captain of the first 15 last year. It was an amazing group of amazing people, and yeah, it was a real community that we had last year. Yeah.
And what has leadership taught you in your rugby journey so far?
I'd say it's taught me to think a bit more about the bigger picture, um, think about other people more than just the game, more about just having fun, having a good vibes around you.
What do you consider to be your best game for the Scots College first 15, and why?
Probably, I'd like to say the final against Silverstream last year. Felt like I did my role quite well, and yeah, it was yeah, felt like I just played well.
Now, last year's final, Scots in the first half got out to a big lead, and then with 10 to go, Silverstream came storming home. Tell us about the nerves in the final 10 minutes against Silverstream in last year's final.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a close one. Way too close. Yeah, way too close. But yeah, no, we were definitely feeling it under the post when the tries started to pile on. But yeah, we managed to get there in the end, which is pretty cool.
You mentioned you were part of that Wellington Under-16 Gold team campaign in 2021. Tell us about that Hurricanes Under-16 tournament. Where was it, and how did the team go?
Yeah, that was a fun tournament. We sort of travelled around. We had a few games in Palmy, and then I think we played one here, went up to Levin for one, I think. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It was sort of the first time that a lot of us boys made a rep team. So yeah, it was pretty cool to put on the Wellington jersey for the first time for a lot of us. So yeah.
And who were the coaches of your team that year for the Wellington Under-16s?
John Herbert, he was one of the coaches, and Dan from Silverstream as well, and Westy was in there as well, I think. But yeah, it was they were good coaches. Good time.
And what other rep teams have you played for as well, Harry?
So I played for the under-18 Hurricanes camp sort of thing. Then went into the under-18 Barbarian schools, and then started this year. Played for the under-20s Wellington, and then played in the under-20s Hurricanes, which was pretty cool. And then recently the universities team.
New Zealand Barbarians, you said that you made. Tell us about that Barbars team.
Yeah, that was a pretty special one. That was a goal that I set at the start of that season to make one of those rep teams. Yeah, everything from the coaching to the environment to all the gears we got, it was unreal. And yeah, I was just grateful as to get an opportunity to be in that environment, learned heaps, and yeah, took away a lot from that. It was
And also the Hurricanes under 20s, you said that you were part of that. Did you get the chance to travel up to the tournament in Taupo, and what did you learn from that week away?
Yeah, Taupo was another awesome experience for me. It was just sort of like another level, another echelon of players, and yeah, it was incredible, like seeing all the other teams and watching all the rugby playing at the big stadium there. Yeah, it was just an awesome experience.
You're also involved with the Wellington Academy. What does that program involve?
At the moment, the part of the year that we're in, it's lots of gym work, and a few field sessions, and just nailing our nutrition, our recovery, and our review of the games, and yeah, just like lots of gym work.
And you mentioned the word review. That seems to be a more prominent thing going up through the grades of rugby into the professional lifestyle. What have you learnt so far when you do those reviews within the academy system?
Sort of to look at the more detail, sort of focusing more on your own role, and focusing on things that 1% that you can get better. Yeah, really diving deep into it. Yeah.
Who have been the biggest influences on your rugby journey so far?
I'd have to say Ace Tietia's been real big throughout my rugby journey. Andre Bell, yeah, Bug, Reutai, and yeah, all the coaches have had an impact and yeah, positively influenced me. It's been great.
Now this Saturday is do or die for the Upper Hutt Rams, for Old Boys University. You're playing the Upper Hutt Rams, I should say, in a semi-final, that to qualify for the prelim final. You beat them 48-22 in the Swindell Shield earlier in the year. What will the team have to prepare for against the challenge of the Rams?
Definitely their size, their physicality. They're a big, fast team, and we're going to have to get up and match that if we want to have a chance at winning the game, or just competing. So I think we just got to match them there and then just play our own game if we want to have a good chance.
Well, Harry, it's been great having you on the Hui tonight. All the best for this Saturday and the rest of the rugby year.
Thank you very much.
Right, it's a joy. Well, two good interviews tonight, and we're very lucky to have both John Schwalger and Harry Irving come on the show. Harry Irving, a player with a big, promising career ahead of him. So looking forward to seeing how he goes as they take on Upper Hutt Rams this Saturday. Now, I've already previewed the Jubilee Cup matches with John Schwalger, so we're going to have a look at the Hardham Cup matches this weekend. Marist St. Pat's versus Wellington. Well, about 5-6 weeks ago, the Axemen nearly caused a big upset and nearly bet MSP. MSP back at home, and we'll be looking to, try and win this one to keep their hopes of the Hardham Cup alive. They went down to the Upper Hutt Rams last week, which relegated them to the Hardham Cup. So, going to go Marist St. Pat's on this one here. Parramatta Plimmerton versus Avalon. Parramatta Plimmerton not going to be in the Jubilee Cup this year. They won't be in the final, but they've got a chance of silverware with the Hardham Cup final, and they'll be taking on the Avalon Wolves from Ngāti Toa Domain, and Parramatta Plimmerton should be able to take this one out. Johnsonville versus Pornicky. probably the game of the round of the Hardham Cup. And Waneke had a good win over Norths last week. Johnsonville beat Wellington the week before. They beat Marist St. Pat's to close out the Swindale Shield. You would say that Johnsonville at home should probably get the job done. But knowing the Street Kids, they'll be pretty up for this game. And then, of course, it's Wainui Armada against Norths out at William Jones Park. Wainui Armada going as the heavy favourites for this game. It's been a tough old season for Norths, but if they can salvage a chance to have a rare win, they might be able to beat Wainui. But Wainui at home should be too tough to beat. Well, it's been a good week here on Huddy Sports YouTube. We've got a new sponsor on board. Jen Hickton Funeral Directors. We announced that on our social media pages today. Gavin Murphy and his crew there from Jen Hickton Funeral Directors. They've been serving the Wellington region since 1946. So they help out not only just of other organisations, they help a lot of rugby clubs as well, particularly in the Hutt Valley. So Gavin and the crew, it's fantastic having you on as sponsors alongside our two long-standing sponsors as well, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Lane Limited and Louise Reddy of New Zealand Travel Brokers. Always great to have support coming in. And if you are willing to keep Huddy Sports free and live on YouTube, and also to help us with having more options to bring you ways to view the game. We tried 2 cameras last week for Petoni's game. So we're looking to try and continue to bring you a top quality service. So if you go to huddysports.co.nz, message us on Instagram or Facebook, or email huddysportsnz@gmail.com if you think you're willing to support us in making sure we bring you all these games and our hui's for free on YouTube. Well, our game this Saturday is the Jubilee Cup Semi-Final between Petoni and Oriental Rongotai. As mentioned, John's picking Oris. I'm going to go Petoni. Our coverage for that will start from 2:30, kick-off at 2:45. The winner of this will take on Tawa in the prelim final. That to qualify for the big show, the Jubilee Cup. The loser of this game, that's season over for them. So it will be a tight one. Oris won out at Petoni, middle part of the Swindale Shield this season. It was one of probably Petoni's worst game until last week against Huddle Boys Marist. So a result that could go any way. Petoni, can they bounce back after a disappointing loss last week? Oriental Rongotai beating over Parramatta Plympton last week. This will be a real beauty of a game. And unfortunately, I won't be calling this game this weekend. I'm up in Auckland at the All Black Test. So we'll have some other voice commentating the game this Saturday from the Petoni Rec. Well, it has been the Huddy Hui for another evening. Many thanks to our guest, John Schwalger, and also Harry Irving. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for episode 119 to preview the prelim finals of the Jubilee and Hardham Cup playoffs. I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.